Hello everyone. Although we deal with facts, logic, and claims every day, we often don't think about how they work together to inform our worldviews. In fact, much of these processes remain unconscious. In this presentation, I will define facts, logic, and claims to bring them to the surface. Being consciously aware of how they affect our understanding of the world around us can help us have more control over the evidence and ideas we encounter. Let's get started. For the most part, moving from facts to claims is a natural process we perform throughout our lives. We recognize patterns and create conclusions based on what we observe and learn. Still, problems in connecting facts to claims emerge through various pitfalls, including logical fallacies and biases, which I discuss in another presentation. The problems I'll discuss here will focus on manipulating facts and conspiracy theories. A fact is a thing that is known or proven to be true. For example, the statements lemons are yellow and lemons are sour can be considered facts. The next examples are a bit more complicated, but notice how they are phrased. Both are phrased in such a way that they are statements of fact. Pizza is a food typically comprised of baked dough, marinara sauce, mozzarella cheese, and various toppings. This statement is so broad that it covers the writer's bases, so to speak. The next statement relies on statistical information. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, there are approximately 328.2 million people living in the United States. While these numbers will fluctuate and the processes used to calculate them can be debated, it can still be treated as a fact. It has been proven true, in other words. Logic is a form of reasoning used to reach conclusions based on provided information. Although there are more forms of reasoning people use, we will limit our focus to the two most familiar methods of reasoning: inductive and deductive. Inductive reasoning reaches a broad conclusion based on limited evidence. For instance, this lemon is sour. All lemons are similar. Therefore, all lemons are sour. By expressing two true statements followed by a conclusion based on those statements, I have walked the reader through my logical process in reaching the conclusion that all lemons are sour. It's impossible for me to taste all lemons, and so I use inductive reasoning to reach a conclusion more efficiently. Beware, however, inductive reasoning is also how we create stereotypes. Deductive reasoning reaches a focused conclusion based on multiple sources of information. For example, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, blacks account for about 13.4% of the total population. The Federal Bureau of Prisons states that blacks account for about 38.3% of the U.S. prison population. Therefore, there are a disproportionate number of blacks in U.S. prisons. In this example, I've provided two facts and have reached a focused conclusion based on those facts. Notice that I have not made any claims regarding how or why those numbers are so disproportionate. Instead, I've made a very focused conclusion based on the information I have provided. In the previous slide, I made a couple of statements that are considered claims. In argumentative writing, a claim is a debatable statement that needs to be supported through evidence and sound logical reasoning. The examples from the previous slide include the statements, all lemons are sour, and there are a disproportionate number of blacks in U.S. prisons. Standing alone, these statements are unsupported claims. However, when combined with facts and logic, they become supportable claims. And it's supportable claims that are needed in academic writing. Without evidence and reasoning, claims are considered weak and unsupportable. When sifting through information and when writing your own ideas, be careful not to confuse facts with claims. And be careful not to confuse social cultural truths as facts. Often we accept truths simply because of our cultural backgrounds and family environments. Stereotypes of men and women are good examples of this. For instance, although women are stereotyped as being motherly, there are many women who are not. Likewise, although men are stereotyped as being unemotional, they have very rich emotional lives. Just because they have not been taught how to express their emotions or have been limited by society into only expressing anger or aggression, that doesn't mean men are unemotional. Social media has exacerbated factually inaccurate and logically fallacious ideas. The anti-vaccine movement is one example of how manipulating facts can distort reasoning. The image that accompanies this slide is a series of facts that attempt to assert the dangers of vaccines. However, this image is an example of cherry-picking data to support an argument. Only selecting data that supports a preconceived idea is one method of manipulating facts, and it's considered unethical and dangerous. Notice how the image neglects to inform the reader of exactly how much of these ingredients are used in vaccines. It also neglects to inform the reader why these ingredients might be used. Flat earthers are another example of twisted logical reasoning. A conspiracy theory typically argues that a powerful organization, like the government or the Illuminati, is responsible for deceiving the public. In the accompanying image, rapper B.O.B. states that the cities behind him in the picture are approximately 16 miles apart. He then asks, where is the curve? He is right in one respect. The cities as they appear in the picture seem to exist on a straight line. However, a large enough circular or spherical object will appear flat depending on our perspective. If we were to shrink ourselves small enough to stand on an orange, from our altered perspective, the orange's surface would appear flat. Also, B.O.B. neglects the enormous amount of evidence from individuals, private organizations, and different government agencies that have proven the spherical nature of the Earth. Instead, he would argue that none of it can be trusted. A conspiracy theory is self-contained in its evidence and conclusions. Any information that does not support the conspiracy theory is considered to be part of that conspiracy. Beware of this kind of circular logic. As we learn more about our world and how it works, our ideas will and should change. Do not be afraid to change ideas when presented with new information. Thank you for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions.